Welcome to Latte with a Lawyer, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the stories of some of America's most successful lawyers, figuring out what makes them tick, how they creatively solve problems, and how others aspiring to be them can follow in their footsteps.
Okay, everybody, welcome to another episode of Latte with a Lawyer. I'm your host, Jonathan Brickman. And this afternoon, maybe it's still in the morning with you, we have Alexandria Zant from Zant Law Firm in New Mexico, right?
I live in New Mexico. I practice in El Paso,
Oh,
Texas.
you practice in El Paso. That's right. I apologize. Okay, good. Well, anyway, welcome to the show. Nice to have you.
No problem. I'm glad to be here.
So let's see. El Paso is Central Time, right? Central or Mountain?
Mountain.
It's Mountain.
It's the only city in Texas that's in Mountain Time.
Ah, very good. Okay, so it's afternoon, then I guess officially, just a little afternoon. So the first question is, what's your morning beverage of choice? Since this is Latte with a Lawyer, how do you get started during the day?
I am a big fan of a coffee brand called New Mexico Pinon.
Okay.
And it's a fantastic coffee. It's very sweet, very smooth. Allegedly, they grow their coffee beans under the shade of the pinon trees, and that gives it its flavor. And it's my absolute favorite coffee. I highly recommend it. It's really, really good.
Oh, good. And where can you buy this if you don't live in El Paso?
Albertsons carries them, and of course, you can order it online.
Okay. I'll have to check that out. I'm in South Florida, so I'm in
Yeah, I don't even know if y'all have Albertsons grocery stores.
We do not have Albertsons. I've heard of
Right.
it. Yeah.
I'm sure there's a few other groceries that probably carry them as well, but if they don't, you can order it online. They're absolutely fantastic.
Got it. I'll have to check that out. Okay, good. Well, anyway, switching gears a little bit, tell us about your practice. What kind of law do you practice? How do you spend your day?
I practice only personal injury. So, folks who have been wronged or harmed in body or property through the negligence of another. And we help them see if we can't recover for their damages and get them somewhat back to whole. I mean, it's impossible to get completely back to whole when it's of course, when it's a bodily injury. But we try to see if we can get some semblance of dignity and get medical bills covered and things of that nature. So I spend most of my day yelling at insurance companies. That's writing them ugly letters, screaming and yelling with them on the phone. That's the majority of my time.
Got it. And is there any particular focus in personal injury, or is it across the board?
It's across the board. The majority of it, unfortunately, is auto accidents, because that's the thing that unfortunately is most prevalent in our society that hurts us through no fault of our own. But I do also do some injury on the job when it's not workers' comp, and I do daycare injury as well, which that one is kind of a unique niche. We entrust obviously these strangers to care for our children, and sometimes unfortunately they don't live up to standards, and children get hurt as a result. So those cases are always really interesting, particularly because it's usually young children that can't articulate what happened,
Right.
and can't say what happened. So sometimes we never find out exactly what happened, but typically I'm still able to get a recovery from the daycare.
Very good. So who are your biggest foes in terms of insurance companies? Do you deal with a regular group?
They're all pretty equally bad. At the top of the list, I would definitely have to say Allstate is the worst.
Really? Okay.
They're not even nice if that's your insurance company, and they're definitely not nice if that's the other party's insurance company. They just want to take everything to court, and which is not the purpose of an insurance company. The purpose, of course, you hope, is your insurance takes care of a claim for you, and they want everything to go to trial, which is hard on the parties. It's hard on the judicial system. It's just awful. But they are at the top of the list for that reason. I guess they must have had some meeting somewhere where they decided that was beneficial to them. to, lowball everything and insist that everything go to trial. I guess it's working for them. They're still doing it, but it's unfortunate because it's very difficult on all the people involved.
Okay, that's interesting. So does that mean you're in the courtroom a lot as a trial attorney?
I am. I will. The majority of everything settles out of court. But even with the 10% that I have to file on that goes to trial, yeah, that means a lot of time at the courthouse and in front of the judges.
Okay. In front of judges or in front of a jury or both?
Judges, obviously, for everything leading up to the jury trial. So there's a lot of face time with the judges because obviously there's lots of motions and proceedings before we get to the jury portion. For the most part, the defense attorneys here in El Paso are very amiable, and we can resolve a lot of things without, having to take it in front of the judge. But for being a zealous advocate for our clients, there are some things that we can't agree on, and that means lots of motions and hearings and FaceTime with our state court judges. And then we all got to prep and gear up for jury trial, and I think those are a lot of fun. I enjoy doing them.
Okay.
My clients always, I was given that last minute, are you sure you want to do this? Because it's not as much fun for you as it is for me. It's a lot of fun for me, but you have to actually testify and look at 12 people and convince them, of your story. And so ultimately it's hard on the clients. Not all of them are actors. And of course, I always let them know it's actually harder to tell the truth because, if you're completely lying, you think of everything ahead of time and how you're going to respond and how you're going to react. And when you're telling the truth, sometimes questions can kind of catch you off guard. Oh, I hadn't thought of somebody asking me that. So it's tough on the clients, but I think it's fun. It's a lot of fun for me. I get to ask questions and I get to argue, and I'm not doing the answering. So it's an easier job in my opinion for me than it is for the parties.
So that's good. Stay with that for a little bit. So how do you get ready then? How do you make sure that you're going to win and that your client actually does well in the courtroom?
Really, it's just preparation, just practice. I'll ask them, here's everything I'm going to ask in advance, and then here's questions I anticipate the opposing counsel is going to ask. Be prepared. Obviously, if there's objections, we might stop and the judge may interrupt and have a whole conversation right in the middle of your sentence.
Right.
Try not to let it rattle you. And so it's just practice. There are some clients, of course, that are just very terrible at testifying. They get so nervous, they can't hardly talk. In those cases, we do try to have their family members talk for them. There'll be someone in their family that's a better speaker that can advocate for them as well. I've witnessed, them having difficulty standing up every day. I've witnessed them, having a meltdown because they couldn't attend a wedding or things of that nature. So we can sometimes also find family members to be their advocates when they're just, they get so nervous they can't talk.
Right.
And speaking is what we do at trial.
Right. That's what you do. And you're trying to tell the story, but does that play as well with, a proxy as opposed to the client with the jury?
It does. It does. And even in some cases better. Obviously we pick very close family members that see them either every day, such as a spouse, or an adult child that's living at home, or somebody that visits very, very frequently. And I prepare the jury in advance too. Look, my client can't hardly speak. He gets, he or she gets so nervous that, they can just utter, yes or no in a few sentences. And but we're going to still, be able to tell their story for their family. And sometimes that works better than the actual person, because it's, the family saying, look, I see their pain. They don't even talk about it. They don't share it with us, but we can see it in their actions and the things they used to do and the things they don't do anymore. And it comes off as more credible even for the jury than somebody standing there going, I can't go to the park anymore.
Right.
Having their family saying, look, I know I saw them go to the park every day. Now they don't go to the park. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to tell me why. I know it's because they're in pain.
Do you use focus groups, mock trials to get ready? Have you done that?
I've done a little bit of it. It's very expensive. So obviously it's saved for larger cases where we expect a larger recovery. But even for the smaller ones, I kind of just run it by friends and family.
Okay.
You think if someone was telling you this and this and this, and try to gauge, make sure it's not just my opinion and how I'm coming across or how a client's coming across. But that can definitely be helpful to get that feedback on, you think, your client's conveying one idea and somebody else is picking up on something completely different.
Yeah, for sure. Do you get big cases? Do you have any catastrophic injury cases?
I've
TBI?
Yeah, the wrongful death, of course, are the hardest ones.
Yep.
Emotionally consuming, time consuming, but they're also usually the most memorable, the most rewarding. Of course, a lot of times those usually they settle right before trial. The other side makes us go all the way to the week before. And then, oh, okay, here's the real offer. But those are definitely the most difficult, but also the ones that obviously we want to be the most prepared for.
Yeah, I attended a TBI event last week and listened to that. I mean, have you done any TBI cases?
Not very many,
Yeah.
surprisingly.
I mean, yeah. So those, yeah, like wrongful death, TBI. I mean, those are tricky, but again, rewarding and good outcomes for the client.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I get a lot of minor TBIs lately, where doctors are starting to recognize more
Yeah.
that those little concussions have an impact. And now, of course, since the discovery of what was the name of the movie with where they discovered that the football players with the multiple concussions
Oh yeah.
have some serious injuries. So that actually brought to light a lot of things on, that these minor concussions that, may just seem to last a couple months for the person who suffered them, it could end up being a really big deal if they have a subsequent concussion or incident.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I have more doctors now talking about that sort of thing, that, even the what seems like a smaller concussion is, I have a hard time remembering things now. And I don't think I seemed to have that problem before. And they're getting better at measuring that and taking it seriously. Because I don't think when I started practicing, I started in 2000, and they didn't take it serious at all. It was like, psh, okay, you have a slight concussion, don't worry about it.
Oh yeah.
And they're definitely, have better ways of measuring now, and are taking a lot more serious that, you may end up having frequent headaches the rest of your life.
Oh yeah.
Very, very mild concussion that didn't result in hemorrhaging of the brain or something that shows up on an MRI. But or the victim knows, I didn't have headaches before, and now I have, once a month, twice a month headaches. And they're taken a lot more serious, and they have better technology for measuring that sort
Oh
of
yeah.
thing.
I don't think people realize. I mean, anyone who played sports, including myself as a kid who got hit in the head with a football helmet or hockey or soccer. I mean, it doesn't take much to damage or to shake up the brain's this sort of gel like fluid banging around your head, and it's very easy to get injured. Very
Right. And of course, when you're younger, your brain adapts and your body adapts and heals. You've got all those wonderful healing powers,
right.
um, all the way up to uh, just depending on who you talk to. But for sure, by the time you're in your 20s, the healing powers aren't, aren't as prominent as they
Right.
were
That's right.
when you're younger. And so, of course, yeah, the older you are, the slightest trauma to the brain makes a much bigger impact.
There you go. Anyway, so how'd you get started? I mean, why'd you become a lawyer? You're from New Mexico, and anyone in the family, attorneys? How'd you tell us about that journey?
Sure. Initially I went to law school, really just because I wasn't ready to go into the workplace yet.
Okay. Yeah, I hear that a lot.
I was an advertising major. I kind of had a plan to be an advertising exec in Dallas or a big city somewhere. Graduation was coming up, and I figured I might start small, like selling advertising for the Dallas Morning News, and then try to work my way into a big agency was the plan. But admittedly, I got a little nervous about it. And I realized that I had done a lot of papers on the law.
Mm.
Whenever I got to pick the topic of a paper for various different classes, I would choose, legal issues or media law or business law, because I just found it really fascinating and interesting. So I would gravitate that direction on purpose. So a little bit of not ready to graduate from school yet, and a little bit of interest in the law. I thought, well, I'll take the LSAT for fun, see how I do. Obviously, I did well.
Yeah.
I had a fantastic GPA, so that wasn't a problem. So I applied to some law schools. The Texas Tech University offers a scholarship in addition to letting me in. So not having a huge student loan was a nice attraction there. So I got there, and since I found the law and all my classes so fascinating, it wasn't hard, because of course when you think something interesting, then it's really easy. Some of my classmates who were not interested in the law and were just there maybe because their parents made them go, they left really quickly, because then it becomes very difficult if you don't enjoy it. But I really enjoyed it. And then when you're there, you learn really quickly kind of what side you fall on. Are you pro criminal defense, and you would be more of a criminal defense attorney, or you're more pro prosecution, and you would probably be a district attorney or work in the district attorney's office. You find out really quickly in the classes, do you feel sorry for the defendant, or you're like, the state should get him and they should spend, eternity in jail. And I definitely, when it came to civil law, was more on the side of, advocating for the victim, for the person who had been injured, versus maybe the corporation or company or hospital that had done the injury. So you find out, just discussing cases, kind of what side you're on really quickly. And that's when I decided, I really want to help people. I want to help individuals. I want to have individual clients, and try to have an impact and meaning in their life, versus just making a bunch of money working for a corporation or an insurance. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Just, but that, you see where you are, you find out when you're in law school. And so it became really clear to me that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, interesting. You think that's the case for most law students? It just happens naturally?
Yeah, whatever you think you are going to do with your law degree going in, it'll either become clear that is the thing you want to do, or it'll become very clear, actually, I think there's this other thing that I want to do that's more interesting.
Got it. When did you start your own firm?
The current one, I had been on my own before. The current Zant Law Firm, PC, started in 2015.
Okay. But had you worked for another, you were part of another firm when you got started?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I opened the El Paso satellite office for a large Houston firm to start with. And then I went on my own for a while, and then I went back to working for a big firm for a little while. And then again, the Zant Law Firm, PC, in 2015.
Okay.
All of it personal injury.
Got it. Why the switch to you having your own firm?
Just to have that flexibility. I have a large family. I have 5 children.
Yeah, I saw that. 5 children, my Lord.
Yeah, so a little flexibility goes a long way, as far as, just keeping hours and when to schedule things, or how many personal injury cases to take, or how many really big, like the wrongful death cases that I know are going to be extremely time consuming. When you're your own boss, of course, then you get to decide, what, I'm only going to take one every once in a while. And, I'm going to keep my caseload a little bit light so that I can do what I need to do to be there for the family as well.
Okay, very good. Yeah, 5 children, that's a lot. I've got 2, and that's plenty.
Yeah, I could, of course, not. I love each and every one of them. They're all a joy. If I had started younger, I probably would have more.
Really? Wow. That's amazing. What's
Yeah.
the age range?
The littlest one is 5, and my oldest is 23.
Wow. Okay, there you go. Well, you get some help from the
Large
20.
age range.
Maybe you get some
That's
help there.
some help in between, yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
But
interesting.
they, as you know, they never stop being your children. So just
Right.
because they're off to college or graduated college or working, they don't ever stop being your children. You hope they still call you for advice. You still do things for them. You still want to be there for them. You're a life coach for life, basically.
There you go. Absolutely. No question about it. It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
And a good one.
It is.
Actually, my son's trying to call me right now, but we're busy. Um, so is there any case that stands out that was memorable, that was a really interesting case to share?
One of the bigger wrongful deaths, there was actually 2 gentlemen that were killed, construction workers, and one of them represented the spouse, the other represented the parents. It was a extremely tragic, obviously, um, accident. They were working on a freeway that had been closed, and a drunk driver had gotten onto the freeway somehow and ran into their crane, and the crane, the boom, killed both of them, unfortunately. And it was really just a lot of investigating on how did this happen? How did this happen? Because it wasn't just, oh, there was a drunk driver, that was driving on the highway and hit another car, for example. The highway was supposed to be closed down. The workplace was supposed to be safe. There was supposed to be, warnings and things in place to prevent this from happening. And for a long time, nobody had any answers. They didn't know what had happened. So that was years and years of just investigating.
Oh, really? How long did it take?
Waiting for people to talk. The whole thing, I think, before it went to the first trial, was 4 years.
Wow.
And it had been a year since the wife first approached me. It had already been a year.
Wow.
So then there was a lot of backtracking. Of course, everyone pretending like they don't remember anything anymore after a year. But we slowly, were able to flesh out, what had really happened. A lot of the wait also was the drunk driver. We had to wait for the drunk driver to have his criminal trial so that he could talk about what had happened. Because, of course, obviously you have a right to silence before you've been adjudicated. And once his criminal case was done, then he didn't have a right to silence anymore. And we could ask him, what was his version of what had occurred.
Oh, I see. Okay.
2 years or so was waiting for that.
Okay. And that was a big outcome, I would imagine, for the plaintiff side.
Yes, it resolved to satisfaction of all parties.
Good. Yeah.
I think that's all I'm allowed to say on that one. But
No, I understand. I mean, listen, you can't replace the life, but I mean, hopefully you get compensated at least somehow for what happened.
Yeah, a lot of that was just finding out what happened. How did this happen?
Right.
How did this occur? Who did what? Who didn't do what they were supposed to be doing? And where there were all kinds of rumors. There were rumors of sleeping cops, that maybe there were some cops that were supposed to be guarding the entrances that were asleep. That ended up just being a rumor, and there was maybe a sleepy cop, but he didn't have anything to do with anything. But the family, a lot of that is this, they just wanted to know what happened.
Yeah.
Because everyone involved became very tight-lipped. I mean, other than, okay, we arrested the driver, but they became very tight-lipped about what exactly occurred.
Right. So lots of depositions, right?
Lots and lots, yes.
Yeah.
Lots
And
and
you tried
lots.
that case by yourself, or did you have
I had to bring in some help.
Okay. Okay.
There were other lawyers involved, but uh, yeah, I mean, it almost had to be because, of course, the we basically filed suit against everybody involved, contractors, subcontractors, the driver, anybody and everybody. And, so there was a huge teams of lawyers on the other side. Um, so I did employ some help. Um, but I was the initial person that the victims' families had come to.
Excellent. Good. So what would your advice be to somebody who is getting started today? What would you tell them?
Well, I know it's really scary to open up your own firm. And there's a tendency, of course, to start off at a law school working for someone else. And that's definitely valuable. You can definitely learn a lot, have those mentors. As an associate attorney, gather all the information you can from those partners. But opening up your own, hanging your own shingle and opening up your own office is, although it seems really scary, it's extremely rewarding. Once you have your knowledge, it's not as difficult as you think it's going to be. The cases will come. There's plenty out there for everybody. You're not going to be sitting there bored with no clients.
Okay.
There's always the fear. I waited a little long myself on going out on my own for fear of, what if nobody wants to hire me? What if no one comes knocking on my door and I'm going to starve to death? And unfortunately, regardless of the area of law, whether it's family law, then, you're going to have plenty of clients, or personal injury or criminal or wills and probate or business contracts, any of that. There's plenty of business to go around. So I definitely always encourage everyone to don't overstay with the bigger firm or with the associate. Feel free to venture out on your own, because the flexibility and the rewards of seeing all the fruits of your labor are worth it. And so that's usually my advice, based
Yeah.
on my.
Well, you must be a good time manager. You got 5 kids and you have your own practice. So I mean,
Oh
I
yeah,
think that's a
that
skill set.
calendar is key. That
Yeah.
calendar is key. But without my calendar, I would be going insane. Because
Right.
keeping track of everyone's schedule and my schedule and making sure that deadlines are met and everything. You definitely need fantastic programming, which they have now. Of course, when I started, it was all paper calendar.
Right.
Not to
Well,
date
my
myself,
wife
but
still uses
all
a
paper
paper calendar.
calendar.
My wife still
Yeah.
uses one. I always tease her
Right,
about that.
right. It's
Yeah.
sometimes I miss it too. There's something about writing it down that kind of helps secure it up here versus typing it. But now we've got such fantastic software that's definitely a big aid.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, well, great. So just final thoughts you want to leave with the audience about the firm and the best way to connect with you.
What I always tell people, why they should hire a Zant law firm. I do keep kind of a smaller caseload. And the reason for that also, not just for personal reasons, but because I do like to meet all my clients, spend time with my clients. They get to see me, they get to meet me. And a smaller caseload also means I like to think we get everything done faster.
Mm.
Unfortunately, the really large firms, they get the same results. I'm not going to say anything bad about them. The results will probably be the same, but when they have high case volume, there's only so quickly they can work on a case. So I like to think, because I keep my practice on the smaller side, in addition to getting to speak and meet with me more often, I like to think we get, things done a little faster. And
Okay, excellent.
and I definitely, I really believe in the work I do. I really want to help people. I really enjoy screaming, yelling at insurance companies, even though that's what I do, and it's very frustrating. But it's coming from my heart. It's what I enjoy doing. I believe in all my clients, and so it's almost not like work. It's I go to work for have fun, and then I go home, and that can be a little bit more like work.
Excellent. And the best way to connect with you through your website, I assume, but LinkedIn, Twitter.
I believe I have all of it. I
Everything.
got Facebook, I got Instagram, I got Twitter. I don't have Snapchat. I don't think that's kind of a lawyer friendly. But the fastest response really, of course, is that phone call. You know, check out the website, but the phone gets you speaking, you know, with me and in the office faster and on the case faster.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. Well, listen, I appreciate it, and it was nice to get to know you and hear about your practice.
Oh no, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and for everybody, this is sponsored by EmotionTrac, which is a legal tech platform. We help lawyers like yourself get ready for mediation and trials with our Insights platform. So thank
Yeah,
you again.
mediation is the key. It's huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. I don't think enough lawyers spend enough time preparing for that. But
I think you're right. Well, when you consider the statistics, right? I mean, 97, 98% of the cases settle, go to mediation, right?
that's right. So
You need to,
I'm even guilty of, you know, needing to put more time and effort into that. I mean, it's almost like the mini trial, the pre-trial.
right.
We should put a lot of effort into it. So
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, thanks again, Alex. Really enjoyed the time with you.
no, I appreciate it. Thank you for
You
having me.
bet.